Coming up on today's show, we talk to some of the talented athletes shooting at the World Archery Para Championships. Learn how assistive devices level the playing field, and see world champions crowned in Den Bosch. The Dutch city of s-Hertogenbosch transformed into the archery capital of the world this June as para-archers from around the world descended to compete for World Championship titles and quota places for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. Emotions ran high as nearly 300 para-athletes competing in Den Bosch looked to secure one of the 80 available spots. Para-archers come in all shapes and sizes, and these inclusive World Championships have a place for them all. Para-archers with the highest level of impairment compete in archery's W1 category. Russia and China met in the final of the W1 mixed team event, which is steadily growing since its introduction just a few years ago. China were looking to extend their lead with the final arrow of the third end.
A strong finish from China puts the pressure on Russia.
And Zhang's been the best archer of this match so far. Shot 3/8, a 9 or a 10. We'll find out after this end, and a 10.
Well, 2 left to start with for Russia, and then 2 over to the right. A solid score of 32, but potentially China get marked up to a 36, subject to a measure that Chris alluded to. And we wait for that asterisk to be removed, and it has been confirmed as a 10 for China. So after 3 of 4 ends, China are leading by 4.
And once again, it's all about improving as the match goes on. They started with a 29, then shot a 34, then a 36. And they're really finding themselves in this match.
The groove. Well, Russia have been up and down. A 33, a 30 and a 32 leaves them trailing by 4 to an ever-improving Chinese team. Russia, for the first time in this match, will shoot first. And it's the final end of the regulation ends here in the W1 mixed team gold medal match.
10.
It's not a bad start.
It's what you need in this circumstance.
And it's her best arrow, Elena Krutova. What can Alexei Leonov do?
9.
At the start of this end, they had a 4-point deficit to make up.
Well, look, here's the wind again, right down at the shooting end of the range.
Yeah.
And it's again falling to Liu Zhang. Well, she's handled it a lot better than she did last time around, right at the beginning of the match.
And maybe she just needed to settle down. Maybe she's not finding this wind a problem. And it was more nerves that caused her to deviate at the start.
Well, it's a high-class start to this fourth and final end here. 19 from Russia out of a maximum 20, but China got the maximum.
9. Nine.
Well, a great finish from Russia. 37 out of a possible 40, but the door is wide open for China.
14 points from 2 arrows required.
Yeah, and those 14 points will take them to the World Championship title here in s-Hertogenbosch.
9. So we need a 5 to win.
Well, here we go. The man of the moment.
It's 8.
And needed a 5, but scores an 8. They level up on points, 37 all in the final end, but it was enough for China to take the gold medal here in the W1 mixed team event.
The equipment that allows para archers to shoot alongside able-bodied athletes is often custom. You can't buy this gear off the shelf.
All these athletes are para athletes, so they all have to have some sort of device to adapt archery to themselves so that they can even pull the bow back. Some have hooks, some have shoulder straps, some have mouth tabs that they bite and they pull the bow back with their mouth. Everybody's different, and everybody has to kind of come up with their own way to make it work. I'm a product designer, and when I walk up and down the line and I kind of geek out on the cool stuff that, you know, people have done, and I've seen some really cool stuff that people have made. It's like, hey, how does that work? Why did you do that?
This was a stand blackjack, and all we did with this was drilled a hole through it to mount a bar, and then mounted the cable onto it, took the other fingers off. So same as anybody else's release, just adapted for para. So
because I have one arm, I can't pull the string back with my fingers, so I use a mouth tab and I just bite down with my back teeth. Pull it back like that.
It is a black wedge, and it goes under my foot, so it makes both my feet stable. I have cerebral palsy, so that means that my left heel does not touch the ground, and that just gives me a little bit more stability, so it gives me more of a spot to put my heel, so it makes my balance better.
So archery is adaptable to just about anything. We have people who can't see. We have people who are in wheelchairs. We have people who are missing limbs. They can use all of these devices to compete in any competition. And those devices don't necessarily make them better than everybody else, but it just levels the playing field to make it possible for everybody to compete together.
The rules for para archery competitions are the same as able-bodied events, and the matches can be equally as tight. There wasn't much that separated China and Great Britain midway through the third end of the compound women's open team final.
They are going to go to the target judge to measure that third arrow from Great Britain, but meanwhile China score another 10. Dialed in on the centre here. It's a third 56 in a row for the Chinese team. Just gave that one away with her look then.
She's had a couple of arrows land low. I don't know if she's struggling to get her pin up into the middle when she's aiming.
Well, a 55 from Great Britain has the potential, actually marked as a 54, has the potential to be marked up to a 56, which will mean it's all square in the third end and Great Britain maintain their lead, but there's 2 arrows going to a measure, so Great Britain could potentially be behind by that single point.
It might be changing a total amount of points because we have 2 arrows to control.
So they've got one of the 2, which puts them at level at 168 each.
And China will get the final end of this gold medal match in the women's compound team event underway. Well, you couldn't ask for a better start.
China have chosen to put their strongest archer first in the rotation.
9.
So dropping just 2 points. We switch over to Great Britain and Jessica Stretton. And it's a good start from her for Great Britain too.
Stretton, arguably Britain's strongest archer in this match, also starting off.
Bit more of a solid shot there from Phoebe Pine. Just 21 years old. Jodie Grimm has a chance to give Great Britain a lead here, and she does. 1 point ahead at the halfway stage in the final end for Great Britain. China have to put the pressure on with another big score in these final 3 arrows for them.
Well, Zhao Zhaiman has been really great in this match. She shot 2 9s to start and hasn't missed a 10 since.
Well, a brilliant 30 out of 30 for the final 3 arrows for China. Really has put the pressure on Great Britain. Well, they can only afford that 1 dropped point here. 2 10s required for Great Britain to stay in this match. And when the pressure was on, Phoebe Pine has put it into the 8. Only the 3rd 8 of the whole match between the 2 teams. Well, a 10 to finish there from Jodie Grimm. But subject to the final confirmation, China have taken this in the final end, coming from behind against Great Britain to take the gold medal and the World Championship title, 226 to 224.
Still to come, Gijs Bruksma learns how to shoot from a wheelchair, and Eric Bennett meets Suresh Sevathambi in the recurve men's open final. Many para-archers make shooting from a seated position look easy. It's not. We sent Dutch Olympic squad member Gijs Bruksma to meet Australia's Jonathan Milne to learn about archery in a wheelchair.
So when I compare my chair to your chair, yours looks way more advanced and it looks more like fancy. What would you say this is like different to our wheelchair?
My wheelchair is custom fit to me, so everything is made to be perfectly fit to me. So yours is just a general, it's going to fit everyone. So yeah, the armrest is definitely something we wouldn't have in a normal shooting chair. So if you could remove the one that side, yep.
This one.
You could leave the other side in. That won't affect you anyway. But a lot of recurve archers, when they have the chair, they've either got a guard that comes down in their wheel, because when their bow falls, it'll come back and it will touch there.
But I don't, so
no.
we'll just try it like this. I'll take an arrow.
Yep. So now you'll...
I think I'm just going to shoot one.
Yep.
And then
You got to just see what it feels like.
Okay.
See how your balance feels.
how my balance feels. I don't feel any balance.
That's one thing that's going to take a little while to get used to.
Yeah, my side is really wobbling around. Normally I can keep
brace against, and when that wind moves you a little bit, you don't have that solid width through your legs to lock you in, so you're heavily relying on everything here to fight.
Yeah, so what you said before, like getting shoulders in line.
If you could try, are you using much of the backrest, or are you leaning? So if you might be that might give you a little bit more stability, but you could try that. It'll help with the wind when the wind blows.
That was better. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot.
All right, and now on the third shot, when you get up, try and lift your feet up, because you can still brace a little bit through there, which helps push back. Just take a little bit of pressure off your feet, and then it puts everything 100% balance into the call.
The wind's coming up nicely.
Here we go, there's a nice little breeze coming now. So
all right, feet's a bit left. There we go.
And now the wind's picking up.
That
makes it a bit harder.
A bit harder. Yeah, your core like tension all the way up. Where I normally like put a little bit of tension in, like.
Yeah, but it's all like a lot of glutes and everything else when you're standing up, or that's all those stabilizing muscles. Take all that out when you sit down in a chair. I've got some leg function, but it's very weak. I can't sort of use it sitting in a chair. Like I've got a little bit of my quad, so I can kind of straighten my leg, but there's not really any strength there. So yeah, even though there's a little bit of movement there, I can't use them to help me balance. It's more so just a lot of extra weight down there to try and keep me pinned down in my chair.
Yeah. And for me, like shooting from a wheelchair, it looks easy, but what you explain with like barely able to like control your core, and your line is, I'm being pushed out of my line because I can't like really turn myself into there.
Yep.
And that just makes it so hard to just keep the line and just like keep strong.
The difference is though, you've grown up shooting a bow standing up. If you ended up in a chair, you would work out how you need to change your process and your shot to make it work sitting in a chair. So you know the fundamentals of how you should shoot, you just need to adapt that to sitting in a chair. So if you spent a couple of days shooting in a chair, you would figure out a way to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more stable. But everyone's slightly different, how they have their chair set, how their angle of their backrest, everything is custom fit, same as the bow to the archer. The chair is a custom fit to the archer.
The recurve men's final in s-Hertogenbosch featured 2015 world champion Eric Bennett going up against first timer at the championships, s-Hertogenbosch. Bennett had a commanding lead after the first two sets.
Well, still trailing, s-Hertogenbosch of Malaysia will shoot first in the third set in this gold medal match.
Nine. Eight.
Just dropping into the 8 there. Mini opportunity for s-Hertogenbosch.
9.
At the moment, he looks like he's capitalising on it. Chris, the shoulder must be very tense in this draw.
I've never tried to draw a bow like that before, but I wouldn't want to.
8.
I mean, when you've got 2 arms and you're drawing with your hands and your fingers, it's all about putting the pressure on the shoulder blades and transferring it to the torso. But Eric here has to put all of the pressure through the muscles and through the biceps and the triceps, and that's not the most solid part of your body when you're shooting bow and arrow. It's very impressive.
It certainly is, but this one's out of reach. He'll want a good final arrow though. All in a line, and that's a 9. The best scoring arrow for Bennett, but the points go to s-Hertogenbosch. And the Malaysian has drawn level on points and is right back in this gold medal match.
Seven. 8. 8-9 liner. 8.
A lot of Eric's arrows landing to the left, shaking his head. He obviously knows what's going on.
Well, s-Hertogenbosch's second arrow will go to a measure, but that 10 is his best shot so far. Eric Bennett needs a good arrow here, not just for his own confidence, but because of that measure.
9.
Gets a 9, so that draws him level on points in this set, but only provisionally, as we're going to go to a measure for the second arrow from s-Hertogenbosch. Any feeling on whether this one is going to get marked up?
It looks out to me, but the Malaysian agent just waved his hand, almost as if it was positive news at the target.
Well, it is positive news at the target. The 8 has been marked up to a 9, and s-Hertogenbosch has taken the 2 set points. Well, Bennett behind for the first time in the match will kick things off in the 5th set here.
Turn!
And he's found the middle.
Turn!
And so has s-Hertogenbosch. This one has been bubbling away, and now it's really on the boil.
9.
Is this an opportunity for the Malaysian archer?
Suresh just needs to match Eric's scores.
Turn!
Well, he's done one better than that. He's on for a perfect 30 here.
Eight.
And an 8 has opened the door in a big way. A 7 will level them up on points and take s-Hertogenbosch to the title.
9.
He scores a 9, and s-Hertogenbosch becomes the men's individual world champion of 2019. And look at the delight on his face.
I'm so happy. I don't know what to speak. Speechless. I'm so happy because this is my first game, so I got the champion.
Alongside Suresh Sevathambia's world champions were Wu Chun-yan, Elena Krutova, Bahatin Hekimoglu, Ben Thompson, Steve Prowse, Ruben van Hollebeke and Saida Nur Alim, who collected Singapore's first ever World Championship title in the sport of archery when she won the compound women's division. There was more at stake at these World Championships though, with 23 countries collecting spaces for next year's Tokyo Paralympic Games. Above all, the incredible para-archers in the Netherlands produced a week of exciting competition and inspirational performances. It proved, once again, that archery truly is a sport for all.